Hey everyone, welcome to another Fluent community meeting. Today we have a couple of topics, which is awesome. I think there's a couple of key things going on in the community, just for some community updates. We have the FluentCon Europe co-located conference coming May 16th in Valencia. So there are both virtual passes available to join that. We just closed off the CFP. So we'll be putting together the schedule, organizing that over the next few weeks, and then we'll publish that live. And then I think the other big thing about that is there'll be some hybrid components. So folks are actually traveling to Valencia. Yeah, we should have like a small in-person type thing. I think there's some pretty good content I already saw in some of the submissions. So I think it'll be another great event. And then, of course, we have the Fluent community meeting in the interim. So, if you ever want to share something, you don't have to wait till these Fluent cons, nor do you even have to apply to these Fluent cons. We can always, we can share stuff in this community meeting. And then in addition to that, I think just some general notes, we discontinued the Google groups. So there's 5 or 6 ways that folks can come and ask for help on like Fluenty and FluentBit, and things were getting a little out of hand. I think in the last meeting we had a action item to go ahead and try to remove some of those places that folks ask questions, so that way we can narrow it down to 1 or 2 good places. We're going to be getting rid of the discuss forum as well, which is like a discourse, discuss.fluenty.org. And what we're switching to is the GitHub discussions, which are, if you go to FluentBit, they are these new things within GitHub. So making sure it's just really simple and easy. Of course, Slack will be continued, but I think there's a lot of stuff, moving pieces around, and we just want to make sure it's a little easier to get help.
Which one you prefer, the Slack or the discussion on the GitHub? You recommend?
Yeah, Slack is great if you want to just do something ad hoc.
Yeah.
And discuss is great if we need to come up with like a design, or there's like some detail or even some error that we want to say, hey, I don't know how this works. Something's not being parsed correctly. It's a better way to capture it long term. Because in Slack, what I'll find is we'll probably get a repeat of a couple questions, and then we'll be like, okay, hey, I've heard this question. Here's what you have to check, blah, 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 blah. But in the discussions, we can kind of capture it and say, hey, this is how you solve XYZ problem. And ideally, when we capture it here, we then come up with like a design solution for how to actually fix what's going on, right? Like if 100 people are running into weird configuration errors, let's make the configuration a little easier and better to use. So
sounds good.
Oh, okay. So let's start with the agenda. I think first one is MultiLine filter log loss on shutdown issue.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
One of my teammates was just asking, was there a password set up? Because I didn't have a password when I joined, but she's saying that she's getting a little dialog box.
Yeah, there's a password.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll handle that.
Cool, thanks.
It should be, it should be part of the meeting link. This part right here.
The part at the end, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yep. I just typed in the password in a Zoom chat window. 823771.
No, that's the the one with the number is, wait a second.
Oh, meeting number. Okay.
Or no, the meeting. Okay, or well, when I joined, that's not what it was. I don't know. But
all right, thank you. I gave that to her, and yeah, we'll see if that works.
Okay, cool.
So because we only have 30 minutes, let's jump into this. So I don't know, I was hoping Eduardo was going to be here. I wanted to discuss basically the solution for this. We don't need to go to this issue. That's like for context for folks who need to understand how the multi-line filter works. But basically, the multi-line filter is I implemented this option called buffered mode, which is needed for the multi-line filter to truly actually work with most inputs. It has to buffer events between flushes and then concatenate them together. And then it uses the in emitter instance, same as rewrite tag, to re-emit the concatenated records back into the pipeline, right? So the problem is that on shutdown, you could lose basically per stream at least one multi-line record. So if there's a multi-line record that's incomplete, currently being completed and buffered, it can be lost on shutdown. I need to do some more testing on this to exactly clarify what cases, but I have seen it happen, and I believe it can impact customers. I have in mind an idea for a solution. So the in-tail multi-line doesn't have this problem because there's a pause callback on the tail plugin input. And when that is called on shutdown, or in any case, basically it will flush pending multi-line records. And we need to kind of be able to do the same thing in the filter, but the filter doesn't have a pause callback because filters don't have pause callbacks. So my idea was that since the filter uses the in emitter instance, the in emitter could have a pause callback, and then when I create the emitter, I just need to, my idea was that I can pass in a function pointer for like basically a pause callback that, and so then the in emitter just in its pause callback just calls my pause callback that I passed in when I created the in emitter instance. And I think if I do this, I can solve it. I wanted someone to, like Eduardo, to say that he thought that was an okay or decent idea, and that he couldn't come up with anything better. That's what I was hoping to get out of this meeting. But if he's not here, then I don't know. Maybe someone else can help. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can get something. I mean, I think you already have the proposal here, and we have this recording too. Let's see if we can get a reply quickly. Is this something we need by 1.9 or anything like that, or?
So I don't think it's like super urgent actually, because I actually think in practice, in most cases, customers are not really going to run into it. But it is like, we should fix it. It would be ideal. I'd be happy to do the work as soon as it's approved to get it done by 1.9. That way we don't run into anybody complaining about it, right? Like the thing that worried me is that if it happens, like multi-line is mainly used for stack traces. And if you lose the last log, that might be the stack trace, that you need, right? So.
Yeah, I'm wondering, the thing that I'm wondering is like, if you call the pause, because a multi-line filter could run after an in forward, it could run after in TCP, and you do that pause loop, would it, when you send back the pause, would it cause any issues with receiving traffic? Because I get when in tail, the pause makes sense, but do we hit some sort of interesting behavior when we try to pause a network input or something like that?
Well, so pausing the in emitter and pausing the network input would be totally different, right? Because these would be different inputs. And yeah, I don't see that being a problem. Like on shutdown anyway, we already are pausing all of the inputs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because I forget this is just in shutdown. It's not like we're stopping the pipeline. Okay, so this needs design approval. Let's see. Okay. Even add this to this. Okay. Cool. Let's see how we can get that. Get some design stuff approved quickly so it unblocks. Okay. Do we want to go into the next topic, priority queue event loop?
Yep. All right. So yeah, that's me. So I just wanted to give kind of an update to the community on the things I've been working on. So a while back, we had this issue that was coming up under high load. And essentially, when there's a very large throughput, we notice that a very large number of coroutines get sort of created, and all those coroutines try to get completed at the same time, or not really the same time, but rather their work would sort of be interleaved. And so you would have, some amount of work and then a network call. But then by the time the network call finishes, it takes so long to get back to it because all the other coroutines need to run first. Just because of the way that we were initializing the coroutines, pretty much as soon as you get work to do, you'll create like a coroutine for that work. And so that wasn't really, the best option in some cases because you end up with a really long sort of wait time before you can resume back to the coroutine. So we've been exploring different options to resolve this problem. And the one that's looking the most reasonable at this moment is just posted in the group chat.
Nice.
So maybe you can take a look. It's the priority event loop. So essentially, instead of handling the coroutines in a first in, first out type of manner, it's to sort of keep a record of the sort of task dispatches, and that's sort of the thing that creates a coroutine, and give that a lower priority than the coroutines themselves. So essentially, what we're doing is trying to change the paradigm from work on anything that you started to rather finish the things that you started, and then when you have sort of free effort, then initialize new work. And so that way we can try to manage getting all the stuff that we have already started done. And then once we're all blocked and all the coroutines that exist, then we can start picking up new tasks because they're sort of in this dispatch event that's of a lower priority. So that's what this PR accomplishes, and passes all the tests currently. So looking forward to working with Eduardo and the team and the community on getting this merged and everything.
Yeah, this looks nice. And I think we should just run through a lot of CI, right? I mean, this is some sensitive things, right? But I guess if we need this, we probably need it for 1.9 for sure, right? Otherwise, it would be a pretty big change. Otherwise, okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Anurag.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, this is great. I think this. It's all.
This will be part of 1.9 per discussion with Eduardo a couple of weeks ago. We're trying to wrap it up and test it, make sure that we can get it rolled out. And Matt is also preparing a call for proposals for the Maze one. He can talk about what he did on this one, because this is a fundamental change to improve the performance.
Yeah, I submitted a Fluent application, although I'm still waiting to hear back from you guys. And yeah, if not, if you guys have a lot of other things to talk about, that's totally good too. So I'll be looking forward to hearing your guys' responses.
Well, I'm actually not part of the selection committee this year. Just
Yep.
I can't comment on any selection process, but I think the dates are probably in March for when the sessions and agenda get set. I think it's actually on FluentCon.io, and then there should be there should be a date section. Maybe it's under registration. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, Valencia's place has a good soccer team.
There it is. Okay, March 21st is when.
March 21st.
Yeah, and then a schedule announcement March 23rd.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think this will be good. Last year we had some pretty awesome topics. Everything gets recorded and put on YouTube too. So having this almost like recorded I think is great, right? You get the folks who can see design decisions in the past, why things were created for XYZ. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one, ECS load test results from Anonymous.
Yeah, so this one is from me. Sorry, I didn't sign. So I just want to post an update here we have talked about the load test framework before, and now we have built the one part of our load test is for the AWS Fluent testing improvement. So we help the AWS customers to use Fluent, and ECS customers is one of our main customer groups. So we build a testing framework to simulate their real world workflow and to help to use different throughput levels of input and then run tests so that we can have a benchmark result on it, and then we can see that if we can find any potential customer problems. So this part is for the testing framework, and we have launched it, and we haven't have the public testing result shared. But we will have it in our next release. So maybe with Fluent next release, we will run this load test, and we will share the result. Maybe we can see later. So this is our current work, and maybe in the future we are looking forward to with Fluent upstream for some load tests framework build.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome. There's a couple of things that are also going on. I can share. Search real quick. Should all be public. Yeah, this is all public. And it says Fluent, but we also did some Fluent bit as well. And this was just trying to showcase like, hey, how much throughput can we get with Entail? How much input can we get with in forward as well? So just some really quick tests, trying to see if we can start to put it in as part of like the release process. So if there's a giant regression in performance, we'll also be able to start capturing some of these things. I think it'll be good. It sounds like we all have that same goal of like, let's make sure we don't get performance regressions and also get max performance. So that we probably want to have some stuff together there, but we run it for about 5 minutes just because some of these specific instance types have NVMe local, and they're a little expensive. So yeah, here it's like I think when we do 100,000, it's pretty fine. But once you get to 300,000, things start to get a little saturated. This is with 1 kilobyte. So this is 100 megabytes per second, and 300 is 300 megabytes per second. CPU usage is pretty good, and RSS usage is not too bad either. And then here's we do a little bit of like Prometheus. How many records do we actually get? But yeah, I think benchmarking in general has been a big ask. So I think we should see if like how to continually benchmark, add as part of CICD integration test, and build.
So yeah, this is good. I think we can get if we can look at the one you're doing from Clippisha side and see we can test the tail one, the performance we can compare. I think AWS for Fluent one testing, we will share the results with our customers. We are more than happy to contribute these pieces to the upstream if you are interested. I already shared this part with the Deepak, and also share this part with the directions with Eduardo as well.
Great. Yeah, it'll be really good to have it, and then if we can run it, for releases, I think that's definitely key.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. Yeah, we're looking even getting a third party to do some benchmarking for us too, just to make sure.
Okay.
We're we can watch it. We have like 3 folks that can do benchmarks, and we'll compare all the notes. So let's start a discussion maybe on this, like a GitHub discussion on overall benchmarking.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I know we have 7 minutes left. Fluent linter action. So I wanted to actually share this. This is something we just built. We released it as Apache 2.0. Right now, it does have a dependency on our cloud, but we're trying to remove that here. But what it does is we found it really hard to check configurations. So when you want to go check a configuration, you have to run it in a container or run it locally. And that works well, but we think we can do better and want to leverage a lot of the tools that exist out there for many languages like linting, etc. So we created this Fluent linter action, and it will go and lint your Fluent bit configuration. You give it 3 parameters, your API key for ClipDiv, because we run everything in a container today. And then we do a config location. So you give it a glob pattern. This actually follows includes as well. So if you have an include of multiple files, we can go and combine all of them and do the linting on top of the includes. And then some examples of this. Let me see, I can showcase this. And it's based off a parser we wrote in TypeScript that's also Apache 2. So if you want to play around with that parser, more than welcome to. Yeah, here's an example. Very simple, simple one, but basically I made a commit change from CPU to CPU 12. We have the linter that runs, and it will tell you immediately in line, hey, this input plugin is actually this is wrong. And it will go check parameters. You'll check runtime errors, and it will append it where in the configuration things are going wrong. Yeah, something we want to keep expanding. We've talked a little bit about like doing test harnesses, having more of these things so you can put in CICD if you're deploying Fluent bit configuration out. And I wanted to make sure, if the community is interested in this type of stuff, that hey, we can keep building it. And everything we've done thus far is Apache 2.0. We're working on removing our ClipDiv cloud requirement for the linter, but the main thing is FluentBit has these things called config maps. And with the config maps, there's probably 60–70% coverage. We're working on fixing that all the way to 100. And once those config maps are done, we have a JSONized schema for a version that we can say we can check the parameters against that versus having that. And the other benefit here is once that is done, we can use it for language servers. So if you're using like VS Code or Sublime Text or others, you'll be able to have a language server for these configurations. So, yeah, nice. It's improved my quality of life, so I'm happy about it.
That's awesome. I feel like that would be so helpful for the customers who are complaining about problems that might just exist because they're writing the config file wrong. So I think this is super helpful.
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about like a recommendation as well. So we can say things like, hey, your membuf limit is really low here, or hey, you don't have workers enabled. You might want to do something like that. And that might be something great that we can plug in, make it something the community can keep adding rules and advice on top of, and yeah, keep giving a lot of value. Okay, a big one. V1.9. What's
Hold on, Anurag.
Yeah.
Question for you. If I'm using this as part of container, how do I invoke this one on the runtime? Because I put as this part of the pod definition or task definition. How this one can be get invoked on the runtime, or when should this one get invoked?
So this
configuration.
Benefit of this is it's not invoked at runtime or anything. It's part of your CI/CD process. So
CI/CD process.
So in your GitHub repo, you'll come in and say, hey, I want to add an action. And you'll say, hey, I want to set up a new workflow. If you search, you'll find it today. You can search Fluent linter. and you'll find it right here. And then as part of your GitHub, and right now it's just a GitHub action, you can then copy and paste this into say, hey, on a pull request, on a push, on a commit, whatever it may be, run the following. And then as you run the following, it will automatically add it to your PRs. So then in your PR, one check will be this.
Yeah, I'm thinking of customers. How do they use it? And because I'm configuring, running my workload in the production, how can I get the benefit? This one is useful for CI/CD, for checking a rollout. How can customer benefit? For example, I want to have 5 workers. I want to set up a memory buffer limit. How can this tool help those customers?
For those, so it doesn't do recommendations today, but we would say, hey, wherever you're storing your Fluent Bit configuration, and I hope it's checked into source control. Like I hope folks are checking their Fluent Bit configurations into source control. In your source control, if it's GitHub, add this linter. And every time you make a change or modify, we'll run it through basically a container image and say, okay, in the container image, did everything match up? Did it actually start up and run? Is there a parameter that you incorrectly set? So before you go and deploy as a daemon set or whatever it may be, you've checked everything. So you don't run into issues as you deploy. So very much focused on like the development of a configuration.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, we have this, we have a Calyptia CLI that we've been thinking we'll add the parser to as well. So then you could just run your config with the CLI as well and check, hey, does everything match? So yeah, all the stuff there that we've been working on. Okay, access to 1.9, release schedule, key features, roadmap recap, some more pinned links. I can talk a little bit about what's going on with 1.9 right now. So the main features that are coming include the OpenTelemetry metric output plugin. I believe there's an OpenTelemetry metric input, a Prometheus scraper, a Prometheus C-metric converter. I think there is a log to metric filter, though I'm not sure if it will make 1.9. And a bunch of other kind of performance improvements, an Nginx metric input, trying to think of any other outputs that are there. Oh, a Windows exporter metrics, so we can collect metrics from Windows in a Prometheus style. And I think those are the major ones. Oh, there's an out skywalking plugin. So if you're using Apache Skywalker or Skywalking, that will be included as well. From the key features and roadmap, we had done something with 1.8.12 I really liked, and I'd be curious.
Yeah, I wanted to. I called something like that, but I didn't lost. I lost where the thing was.
Yeah, we had done. Maybe it's closed now, but it was like 1.12 release. Yeah, we did this last time where we just showcased everything around plugins and core fixes. Would this do folks like this? Like, should we just do this for?
Oh, didn't we create some like backlog type of Kanban style backlog management and having a visible roadmap moving forward, like maybe quarterly basis or something? Didn't we have that kind of thing as a roadmap? Visualize kind of roadmap for the community.
This is good. I think this no conflicts was based on what you are saying. Okay, I think he's sorry, I pronounced your last name. He's okay.
Yeah,
okay, guys, now I think have this one give visibility what's coming, what Anurag mentioned, and the other one is what you mentioned, give people a roadmap view. That's also good. I think there's no conflict. Once we have the roadmap, we can track the delivery for each items on the list.
Yeah, like kind of like instead of putting, we could put like these are quarters, and then I know Pat. I think Pat had presented a proposal before
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think we actually ever ended up. I think we should. So I just created one. So we have a new project, and then we can take some of these like 1.9 track release issues. Let me pin this issue, by the way, so folks can. How do I pin this? I have to go figure out how to pin an issue. Oh, I think it's here. Maybe I don't have permissions. Okay, but yeah, we should pin them up here, and then from a project side, we should have them as like a quarterly side to like, hey, these are the things that we want to do over the course of this quarter, next quarter, and the quarter after. So I can already think of a couple that we could add in like this quarter, which is the benchmarking, adding metrics, open telemetry integrations, log to metrics filter. Next quarter, we talked a little bit about like parsing, adding more parsers. So I think right now we focused very heavily on Lua. In fact, the 1.9 should have some improvements to Lua, but we could look at some more of those, and then kind of following quarter, hey, this is what we're targeting as well. So let's add it as an action.
So does the logs to metrics filter also support metrics to logs?
I don't think so. I think it's just one way for now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't. I have asked that same question, but I think it's just one way for now. We'd have to add something else for the other way. Is it like you want to take raw Prometheus and send it, or is it?
Yeah, because one of our associates really wants to do that, and it's kind of blocking them from using Fluent at the moment. They want to send Prometheus metrics to CloudWatch, and currently they don't have a way, or wherever, to like Firehose or Kinesis or wherever.
Yeah, got it. Okay, let's say add to Fluent project. Say pin access to discussion. Discussions. Okay. Let me grab. Oh, in Kafka is there too. That's a big one. Okay, great. I think those are the major topics. Anything else on this one we want to cover?
Good stuff.
Okay, thank you. Good, thank you.
Thanks all. I'll post the recording and all the notes. Bye for now.
Great, thanks a lot.